So our Pen 50 sealer is it's a penetrating sealer. Means that it penetrates into the surface, into the concrete or stone without leaving a film on the surface. And it's very water resistant. It's made from a blend of silane and siloxanes that penetrate into the concrete and react and form like a silicone resin that's highly water resistant, highly repellent. So it does an excellent job of keeping water out of the concrete, out of your stone, and will protect it from mold growing. It'll protect it from salts getting into the surface, from freeze-thaw attack. So highly water resistant. You can use it interior or exterior, and it'll protect your concrete or your porous surface. Our Pen 50 penetrating sealer is available both to the commercial customer and also the DIY consumer. The product was developed initially for commercial applications, things like historic buildings, public walkways, but it is very user-friendly. It's a water-based product, easy to use, easy to apply, but definitely a professional grade product, and we make it available now to the DIY market as well as the commercial market. So if you're seeing signs of mold and mildew in your concrete or on your natural stone, your limestone, or maybe on the slate, any kind of porous surface that's showing signs of mold and mildew, that's a good indication that you need a penetrating sealer, something like the Pen 50. If you've got concrete and you're seeing signs of that crumbling or dusting, again, that's probably because moisture has got into the concrete, and then you have like a freeze-thaw action. As the water freezes, it expands and it crumbles and cracks that surface. So again, if you're seeing signs of that on concrete or on your pavers, another indication that you should be using something like the Pen 50. Any porous surface can benefit, and it won't change the look of that surface. So if you have sandstone, you have limestone, any natural stone, and you don't want to change the look but you want to protect it, that's an excellent use of the Pen 50 product. So typical situations or typical problems where you would use the Pen 50, first of all, include moisture or water getting into your surface and that resulting in mold and mildew. So predominantly we're dealing with exterior situations, for example with natural stone like limestone or sandstone, maybe in your patio, maybe around your pool deck, maybe on brick walls or vertical surfaces, anywhere you might have a lot of damp and moisture and you want to stop that getting into the surface. That would be a great application for the Pen 50. And the nice thing is that you can use it and not change the appearance of the surface. It shouldn't darken it, it won't give it a sheen, it'll just keep that natural look. Another reason we use the Pen 50 again is to protect that surface from what we call freeze-thaw attack. That's when moisture gets into the surface, let's say a concrete patio, and then that freezes and expands and cracks and crumbles that top surface. Makes it very weak, makes it very dusty. So we can use the Pen 50 again to reject that or to repel that water and that moisture getting into the surface. So think of exterior applications where that could be your driveway, a lot of concrete driveways, again your patios. For commercial applications, that can be entranceways, public walkways, and then also on the walls itself to your structure, to your facility. You want to protect those from that freeze-thaw attack. And then thirdly, chlorides itself. If you're using salt, de-icing salts, you're using that to during the winter, that salts can get carried into the surface because of the water when it melts, when the ice melts. So again, the Pen 50 would act as a barrier. It would repel those chemicals, those chloride chemicals, getting into your concrete or into your natural stone. So what makes Pen 50 different from a lot of the competitors' products is firstly the active solids. We have higher active solids in our product, which will mean that it will have higher repellency and it will last a lot longer than these competitive products. Secondly, it works on multi-surfaces. The silane-siloxane blend that we've formulated works very well on concrete, it works on natural stone, and also works very well on clay and brick. A lot of the competitive products really only work on one or the other. So we've got something that's multi-surface, easy to use, longer lasting. If you use a competitive product, you're going to find yourself losing that repellency very quickly, and you're going to find yourself having to do reapplications much more frequently. So using the Pen 50 is easy to do. It's a water-based product. It's not hazardous, so it's easy to apply. But we have to make sure firstly that the surface is porous, is absorbent. Make sure that the sealer can soak into the surface rather than sit on the top. So you need to clean off anything that may be preventing that. Any dirt, oils or debris, that needs to come off. Obviously if it's mold and mildew, you want to clean that off before you seal. So make sure that surface is porous. You can test that by just putting some water on the surface and making sure that that's fully absorbed. So assuming it satisfies that, then the next step is to apply the product using like a pump-up sprayer. That's probably the most effective way of doing it. A simple garden sprayer, and you pump up the product and spray it onto the surface, and it should soak in within 5 to 10 minutes. If it hasn't soaked in that time, then you want to spread it around or sweep it off into an area that hasn't yet been sealed. You're looking at around 150 to 250 square feet per gallon, depending on the porosity of your surface. And if it's very porous, it can take 2 coats. Each coat, maybe an hour between each coat, depending on the temperature. If it's not very porous, you'll see that it'll be slower to soak in, and 1 coat should be sufficient. We always recommend that you wait 4 hours before exposing it to any moisture, any water. You will be able to walk on it within 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, depending on the temperature. But you should plan to keep any water, any moisture that it might be exposed to for at least 4 hours. And after that, you'll find it can be driven on, it can be walked on, it can be exposed to moisture. The longer you leave it, the more effective it will be. It's going to continue to cure for the next 24 hours. So you're going to see maximum water repellency after 24 hours. So we need to be careful how we use the Pen 50 and how it reacts with other products. Remembering it's a penetrating sealer, its function is to soak into the surface. So any other sealer, any curing agent, bond breaker, all those have to be removed from the surface in order for the Pen 50 to penetrate. So if it's already being sealed, you're not going to be able to use the Pen 50 until you remove that sealer. Once it's sealed, its function is to repel water, in particular, from getting into the surface. So you can't come back and then seal over that with a water-based sealer, or really with any type of coating or sealer. The Pen 50 itself will reject it and will act as a bond breaker. So once you use the pen 50, you need to continue to use it. If you decide that you want to use another product over the top, then that needs to be cleaned off. The surface needs to be etched prior to sealing.